with keeping this secret.
How is this cover-up contained and maintained through international borders? And if it is, are their motivations the same? The best guess is that since America has such overwhelming economic power, the only worse thing than America being mad at you is for America to ignore you. There are so many countries, economies depend on America that I think that they take their orders from America in some ways. When it comes to the cover-up, I think that's one of them.
The U.S. government is not only pressuring Brazilian government, but it's making pressure over almost all countries that are somehow aligned, politically aligned to the United States. Now, all South America, except maybe for Chile and Venezuela, who has Chavez, who's a rebel, all the rest of Latin America is very aligned to U.S. politics. So all these countries will do just exactly U.S. President tells them. It is keep this under wraps.
Recent media polls show that over 100 million people in the United States alone believe that there is some form of extraterrestrial life. 45% believe that the Earth has been visited by extraterrestrial beings. Nationally known journalists continue to turn a deaf ear to the public's demands for true investigative reporting on a daily basis, accepting instead the dribble of denial from numerous government agencies as fact, while refusing to interview the legions of researchers who have made serious scientific investigation of UFOs and alien contact their life's work.
What else are the governments of the world not saying?
What if there is positive proof that UFOs do in fact exist? What if that proof has existed for years, but has been hidden neatly within the fabric of a system of lies and grand deception?
We need to be very concerned about the way in which this whole area has been managed by the national security agencies responsible. By maintaining secrecy, keeping people in the dark, it means that we really don't know whether this secrecy and withholding the information, withholding the technologies from the general public arena is really for the best interest of all of us.
The problem has been since the early 50s, and I have the government documents. The United States government has instituted a policy of denial and control over the information. Nothing happening there, folks. Nothing happening there, folks. And if somebody persists in saying, but I saw it, then they're ridiculed. You've got a screw loose. Something's not right with them. This is absolutely just unconscionable in a country that pays lip service to freedom and individual liberty, because there have been so many people whose lives have been wrecked, whose families have been wrecked because of this policy of denial and ridicule over a phenomena that has happened worldwide for centuries.
Disclosure has a very defined definition. It means the formal acknowledgement by the governments of the world of the extraterrestrial presence.
As fellow inhabitants of planet Earth, we live in a rapidly changing world. The advent of modern communication networks and the internet has made maintaining the UFO cover-up a difficult and demanding undertaking.
Brian Vike of HBCC UFO is the #1 UFO website to send information to. Him and Rents and UFO Casebook are the 3 places that I always send my footage to, because they will only put verified sightings on their site. They just won't put junk up there. And I know they get over 3, 4, up to 10 million hits a month.
For over half a century, the United States, Great Britain, and a host of aligned countries have been able to maintain a vast web of secrecy over what is actually happening worldwide relative to aliens, or what are generally known as EBEs, extraterrestrial biological entities. But that is rapidly changing, and disclosure, the lifting of the truth embargo, is now taking place.
I'll be getting over 500,000 hits this month, but the interesting thing about that is that a couple of thousand of those hits each month are from the military. As far as sharing information on the internet, that is the best way to do it, and probably the safest way, only because I know I've sent DVDs to people and they haven't received them. And I would email them and say, look, I'm going to send you a DVD. Can you analyze it for me and let me know what you think this is? And 2 weeks later, they'll email me and say, I never got it. I'm just waiting for that day when they come knocking on my door and want to talk to me about it. But until that day, I think they know who I am. I think they know we're here. I think this is the way it's going to be done from here on out. Because the military definitely doesn't want to talk about it anymore. Because everything at night to them is a flare or an airplane. On the contrary, we have all this evidence that shows otherwise.
Like the dawning of a new day, the internet is quickly sweeping away the darkness. The truth will not be stopped.
We're in this strange reality, which we're caught between two worlds, between two paradigms. And the bridge between, or the door between these two paradigms is what is now called the disclosure event.
Recently in Washington, D.C., a press conference was held in conjunction with an international event, the X Conference, where a panel of eminent scientists and researchers broke the silence and spoke out and called for a full international disclosure and an end to the truth embargo relative to UFOs and extraterrestrials.
If I was an in-the-know person, high up in government or finance, and I knew about the extraterrestrial issue, and I knew about sequestered technology, and I knew what it could do when it was released, my position would be this: let's keep that technology under wraps as long as possible, while we sell as much of the rest of the oil as we can for as much as possible. And then we'll take that money, and we'll use that to own the extraterrestrial technology, right? The point is, there's always people in the know and out of the know. Sometimes it's about stuff, and you're in or you're out. But there are some things you can't have the in the know and out of the know.
Basically, what we're calling on today is for the government of the United States to take the issue of extraterrestrial life, where it has been stuck in conflict and for the last 60 years, and take it out of the military intelligence agencies and put it into the Department of Education and the scientific departments where it belongs. Take it out of the threat scenario agencies where it is funded as a potential threat, and put it into the opportunity agencies where it is funded as a matter of education and advancement of knowledge for mutual benefit.
There is an overwhelming mass of proven, real government documents that have been released largely through the Freedom of Information Act that show decades of, for example, airspace violations, very sensitive places by objects doing what appear to be the impossible. We have these documents from the 1940s, we have them from the 1950s, we have them from the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. So these airspace violations continue. They are provocative, they are at times seemingly confrontational. You have pilots who have been charged with going up to get these things, and they have described them at times saying, yes, it appears to be a metallic disc-shaped, there it goes.
I began on this topic by trying to do reverse engineering on gravity control devices in 1968, but now I'm officially looking at leaked question documents. And some of the documents tell an amazing story. One of the leaked documents started with FDR, and FDR had set up, through Vannevar Bush, a committee called the Non-Terrestrial Science and Engineering Committee. These were guys, after the recovery of a crashed flying saucer in 1942, who were given the parts and told to figure out how they work. They came back to FDR in 1944 and asked for money. And he said, no, we've got to win the war first, beat the Nazis. And then in 1947, it was Vannevar Bush who went to President Truman, who didn't know about all this, and said, by the way, we have these craft, we could do some reverse engineering in order to improve our country, to improve our culture, to improve our standard of living. And that was when the money started to flow.
July of 2002, right here in the Washington, D.C. area, there was yet again a airspace jet chase by two F-16 jet interceptors, which were chasing a bluish object right outside D.C.
My opinion right now is the person who's going to wait for hard evidence is going to be left behind when the deluge comes.